Welcome to the General Flexigas CSST training module. After completion of this module, you'll have the knowledge and skills to make Flexigas an essential part of your gas plumbing toolkit, from retrofits, refurbs and repairs, to new build installations. You will no doubt be considering the Flexigas system for all your current and future projects. Rule number 1. Don't forget what you already know. Firstly, don't forget what you already know. Installing Flexigas is almost exactly the same as installing copper or rigid steel. But many installers forget this key point when they start using CSST, and this can create unnecessary confusion. So remember, you already have the foundations for installing Flexigas. There are only minor differences between how to install copper or rigid steel gas lines and how to install Flexigas, which we will cover in this section. When it comes to installing Flexigas, many things are the same as with rigid tube. IGEM and BSI regulations make virtually no distinction about how and where copper and CSST or Flexigas installations are made. They largely treat all gas installations the same, using the term pipework throughout the codes, and leaving it up to the gas installer to choose between what type of tubing material they prefer. For example, how to pass through walls? Same. How to install in the ground? The same. How to install in floors? Same. And importantly, how to ensure ventilation? The same. So, when facing any installation scenario, rather than thinking, how do I do this with CSST? You should first think, how would I do this with rigid tubing or copper? And the way you should install Flexigas in most cases will be the same. Installing Flexigas, a step-by-step guide. The biggest difference between rigid tube and Flexigas installation is how to connect a fitting with the tube. So let's get into that. 1. Cut the Flexigas tube. Use a wheel metal pipe cutter to cut the Flexigas tube, ensuring a clean and centered cut in the valley between corrugations. This is actually one of the most important steps. As you rotate the cutter, give just a quarter turn each time around. For best results, use a Flexigas cutter, which has support wheels on each side of the cutter, specially designed for Flexigas tube. Do not use copper cutters or hacksaws, as these will provide a cut that will not seal. After the cut, the tube should be perfectly circular, with no sharp burrs or edges. 2. Remove the flame retardant cover. With a utility knife, remove the yellow cover, exposing the last 4 corrugations. 3. Put the optional FG wrap sleeve in place. This is an optional extra, and silicone tape can be used instead. But if you choose to use FG wrap, make sure you put the FG wrap sleeve onto the tube the right way around, with the brass lip facing forward. 4. Slide on the nut and collars. Place the nut over the tubing and position the 2 semicircular collars around the tubing so that the ridges on the collars occupy the last 3 valleys. Important, make sure that there is 1 corrugation ridge in front of the split collars. 5. Tighten for a secure seal. Using 2 suitably sized wrenches, tighten the nut and fitting to create a secure seal without the need for specialist tools or soldering. For larger DN sizes, you should use large gauge wrenches or Stilson wrenches. You need to apply enough torque to make sure the last corrugation is flared against the seat inside the fitting, so use those muscles. Note, no sealing compound or paste should be used. 6. Gas tightness testing. This is the time for gas tightness testing. Importantly, do not do any additional steps until gas tightness testing has been completed. 7. Wrap the tail. After conducting a gas tightness test, wrap the small gap between the nut's tail and the tube either by using yellow silicone tape or by using the FG wrap feature. If using FG wrap, push the brass ring down until it clicks onto the tail of the nut and give it a little quarter turn. Afterwards, unroll the sleeve to cover the gap between the fitting and the tube. Important. The silicone tape and the FG wrap serve no purpose in making a gas seal. Their only purpose is to prevent bleach or some other corrosive chemical from making contact with the stainless steel tube. You should always conduct gas tightness testing before attaching any silicone tape or FG wrap. Earth bonding, an important step that is often missed. Proper bonding is essential for all gas installations, both rigid gas lines and CSST or Flexigas. We see far too many gas installations with incorrect or no bonding at all. Don't just leave this step to the electrician, but it's best to make sure this step happens yourself. Unlike for rigid tube, when using any CSST including Flexigas, you must not attach a bonding strap to the CSST or the fitting. When using CSST, you have 3 options for earth bonding. 1. Use a bonding clamp designed specifically for attachment to brass fittings. 2. Switch part of your installation to copper tube so that a bonding strap can be attached to a copper part of the gas installation. Or 3. Use the Flexigas FG Bond feature, which is the easiest and safest way to bond your installation. FG Bond, the safest way to bond your CSST installation. Flexigas offers a patented and unique safety feature called FG Bond, which allows an easy and secure way to bond your CSST installation without using bulky, oversized bonding clamps, or having to switch to copper tube for part of the installation. Each FG Bond kit uses an earthing terminal and a BSI-compliant label. To attach FG Bond, 1. Attach the earthing terminal. You may have noticed that all Flexigas fittings have 3 holes around the outside of the nut. Attach the earthing terminal into each one of the pre-drilled holes found on all Flexigas nuts. Make sure the BS7671 compliant label is attached between the earthing terminal and the nut. 2. Secure the copper wire. Screw down onto a stripped length of copper wire. BS6891 requires a minimum of 10mm wire be used. The FG Bond system is tested and certified by BSI as a bonding clamp and meets BS951 requirements. Bonding clamp location requirements. The same standard requirements apply for the bonding clamp location. Whether using the FG bonding system or a traditional bonding clamp, the bonding clamp should be as close as possible to the point of entry into the premises, before any branch in the installation pipework, in an accessible position where it can be visually observed and fitted with a warning label stating "Safety electrical connection, do not remove." Revisiting the importance of gas tightness testing. It is critical to conduct gas tightness testing on all installed gas lines, but also when using CSST, to conduct this testing at the correct installation step. Preparing for gas tightness testing. Before conducting your gas tightness testing, please take note. 1. Avoid using leak detection fluid that may damage stainless steel or contains high levels of chloride. 2. Make sure the silicone tape or FG wrap has not been installed and does not interfere with the gas tightness testing process. 3. Do not apply silicone tape until after the gas tightness testing is complete. If using the FG wrap feature, ensure it is well down the line and out of the way before conducting any tightness testing. Conducting the gas tightness testing. 1. Follow the guidelines outlined in IGE UP 1B for tightness testing and purging of domestic-sized natural gas installations. 2. Use suitable equipment and procedures to accurately measure and verify the gas tightness of the installation. 3. If any leaks are detected, address the issue and retest to ensure a safe and reliable gas supply. Damaged tube? No problem. Accidents happen, but that doesn't mean you have to scrap your entire installation. If you spot a tear or damage to the yellow cover, don't panic. Just follow these simple steps. Step 1. Check the CSST. Make sure to check the stainless steel tubing inside for any damage or punctures. If the steel tubing is damaged, you'll need to cut that section out of the installation and redo that part of the installation. Step 2. Tape it up. If the stainless steel part of the tube is undamaged, simply wrap the damaged area of the yellow cover with at least 2 or 3 passes of silicone tape. This will keep any corrosive materials from coming into contact with the stainless steel tubing. Step 3. Carry on. With the damaged area fixed, you can carry on with your installation without any interruptions. Pipe supports, ensuring proper support for CSST. Due to its flexibility, CSST requires more frequent support than rigid tubing. To secure the tubing, it's essential to use metal Munson rings or clips, or use a joist and other supports as per Flexigas installation manual, BSI or IGEM regulations. Here's a table outlining the recommended distances between supports for CSST, also available in the installation manual. Sizing, getting it right for Flexigas CSST. Another key difference between Flexigas CSST and traditional copper or rigid tubing is pipe sizing. While Flexigas has a similar pressure drop to copper, It's crucial to calculate the specific pressure drop for Flexigas tubing before beginning any installation. Flexigas Sizing App. To make the sizing process easier, we offer a free sizing app that's perfect for jobs with a single length of tubing, running from the meter to the gas appliances. You can download the app and use it to determine the correct pipe size for your installation. In the sizing app, Flexigas uses meters cubed per hour as its primary measurement, rather than kilowatts. You can convert from meters cubed per hour to kilowatts using a formula, but it's always best to check the peak meters cubed per hour requirement for the specific appliance you're installing. The main reason is that the peak meters cubed per hour requirement may vary between different boiler manufacturers, even for the same advertised kilowatt boiler. You can find this information on the spec sheet or manual for the gas appliance. Free sizing and consultation service for complex installations. For more complicated installations, please don't hesitate to contact us for our free sizing and consultation service. Our experts are here to help you determine the appropriate sizing for your Flexigas CSST installation. Navigating unventilated areas with CSST. When handling unventilated areas, stick to your copper experience. Flexigas offers a pre-ventilated product for passing through unvented areas, called Flexigas DS, but it's not always necessary. When dealing with any unventilated area during a CSST installation, remember rule number 1. Don't forget what you already know. Remember your experience with copper or rigid tube. You can tackle any unventilated area in the same way as you would with copper. Instead of immediately considering a pre-ventilated product, think about how you might ventilate the area or construct a duct, just as you would with rigid tube, before considering a pre-ventilated CSST product like Flexigas DS. For example, when encountering a small unventilated area, it may be more cost-effective to use standard CSST and build a small duct vent. Or it might make sense to pass the CSST through a small length of sleeving to pass through the unvented area. This approach can save you money compared to using a pre-ducted product. Remembering rule number 1. As we reach the end of this section, you may realize that we have not covered a range of installation situations: floors, compartments, solid walls, screed, timber-framed studs, roof areas, outside walls, under driveways, etc., etc. This is because for these installations, you would use the same installation approach with CSST and Flexigas or rigid tube, except for variances covered in this section. So don't forget what you already know about how to plumb gas pipework. And if you do have any doubts, all the above scenarios are covered in our Flexigas installation manual. This completes Module 1. There will now be a short quiz on the material covered. In the next module, we will cover pre-ventilated products like Flexigas DS, which can be useful in some installation scenarios.